We'll go live. What is going on? Oh, goodness gracious. I am back. I got my stuff back, my microphone and my regular stand, because it was, in fact, in my truck. I totally forgot it last week. I made do with what I had, which is fine. I mean, I'm not quite sure you guys even, notice the difference, but I do. So I'm back to having everything under wraps, I guess. I am thinking about racing this weekend, but Saturday looks like poop. And every time it's that cold and that rainy and stuff, I mean, John's probably going to get it in at AMS. But then I could, if I didn't want to run Saturday, I could run Sunday uh, at a place called KB Speedway down in Wellsville as well. Flat track, probably Vega Yellow type track. What's going on, man? Hello. Vega Yellow type track, which I have some Vega Yellows. I just haven't. Are they back in my truck? I think they're still in the back of in the bed of my truck. I took them down to Blairsville, because Blairsville, when I ran UAS, that track is, I mean, you can run, the preferred tire are Burris 33 usually. It doesn't mean other tires won't work. Maxxis work really well. I think that the 1C there, Caroline was on Maxxis in the heat race and he was fast, but I think he went to Burris for the feature. Now, had that track gotten a ton of rain and was super wet, Vega Yellows, they work as well too. You coming to P Attack of the Clones on 14th? I don't know. I don't know. I would like to, but it's not in the cards right at the moment. I have somebody that I can get some Reapers off of for a reasonable price to make the race. Are they going to be brand new? No. Do I think I can still work with them? Yes. Matter of fact, I have Reapers here. They're 2023s, and I was moving them, the dismounted, so I could mount some other stuff, and the tires still feel really good. Like, I guess my perception of the Reaper was it was going to be very Unili-ish, and those things were hard as a brick. Like, I did some stuff to my Unilis I had at one point in time, and they were plastic, man. They got rough in a hurry. I understand, that everybody getting behind them back then, but it especially up here up north, it didn't work. But these Reapers feel pretty good. I mean, they feel like they're still kind of tacked up, and I could work them a little bit and bring them back to life and make them work. So, what kind of cross am I running? Depends on what track I'm running, but typically I'm a lower 60s cross kind of guy. On a hard, fast, a good track, as they like to call it. If you're on Maxxis, if you're on Reapers, if you're on something that's very fast, usually as much cross as you can possibly get into it on modern carts works. But for up north here where I am, I'm usually between 60 and 63%. Sometimes I'll dip below 60, depending on what I'm doing. As a matter of fact, I was going to scale this. I just changed around my recon, trying to adapt away from my too much left side weight for up here. But yeah, this cart, the 2017 recon, was scaled with, I had 63% cross in it. Last I scaled it. Now I have changed a bunch of stuff, so I'm curious where it's going to end up. I'm guessing somewhere in the high 50s. Last year, I remember it really liking being slightly above 60. Really made it happy. I got down below into the 50s, and it didn't appreciate it. I mean, it rolled okay, but it didn't behave correctly. Yeah, but that's what gear do I run on my clone? Obviously depends on track, but I have an 11 driver. No bearing in there. It's on the crank. And depending on what track, Right now, I think I have a 61 on the rear. I think I have 1161. I was all the way up to 1162 or 63 at AMS the first time I ran there this year. And then I dropped back down to see if I could just pull more straightaway speed, but it was really it was a detriment to me getting off the corner because I'm a 400-pound class guy now. Uh, Pulling less teeth in if you can carry the momentum through the corner doesn't hurt you nearly as bad. But I was really losing off the corner, so I think I got to go back up on teeth. So typically, I'm gonna, the smaller tracks here are gonna be somewhere probably 1163 ish, give or take. Left rear shifted inside. Do I move the spindle on the front left spindle down or up to increase? Your increase cross, right front down, left front up. We can look at my Kart. This is doesn't have a bunch of cross in it, so we'll look at my left front. This is maybe now see I don't have a lot of cross in it. So you see how this spindle is down? This is my left front. This one's down. If I wanted cross, this should go up. These washers here should be on the bottom. They should be here. And then I believe that I'm probably. Why's my camera so dirty? So sorry, guys. My apologies. Yeah, this was about. Oh, that's about mid. It's hard to get in here. Yeah, it's about mid, give or take. So this is the right front. Spindle should be down here if you're increasing cross. So all these washers down here would be up here. Yes. And also keep in mind there are also things like if you're having a problem increasing stagger. Now it's going to cause other issues, but I will say in general, less rear stagger increases cross, more front stagger increases cross. Those two things will also change the handling of the cart. It will make it do other things. But if your intent is to get more cross into it, those are two things that you can also do. Pretty. I have heard even worn until then everybody's gone and still have life in the Reapers. Yeah. Yeah, I've heard the same thing that they actually run very well, pretty well worn out, especially on those again those faster tracks, the harder type tracks. Up here up north, it's hard to justify them being thin, but my experience is limited with it. I have run them. I have some. I don't dislike them. I obviously like the price of them. I think that's definitely a good thing for karting, the competition side of things. But the tire's not bad. I don't. I I've heard some people like, oh, they're one run and throw them away. I disagree. Um, maybe for people who want to do it, if you want to, keep up on, but as it's, much like the Maxis, much like Burris, not so much Vegas. I haven't found date codes are going to be a thing. Eventually, I think that the Reapers are going to come to a point where you're going to be after a certain date code, um, when they were produced, how soft they were, this and that, and harder tracks. The newer stuff is going to not be as fast on those really good tracks that are hard and fast. You're going to want something that's cycled a little bit more. I don't want to say they're going to turn into a Maxis, but it's a tire. They are subject to the same parameters that every other make. There's many tracks up here that the Blairsville that I ran with the Open. I should have stayed on my 2025s for the feature. I did not. I made a poor choice to go back to the 2019s. It was a 25 lap feature. I figured I was going to overheat them. Never happened. Just could too cool out. My bad call. I believe the leaders were on 2024s. So that is going to be a thing. It's tire selection, man. Somebody's going to nail it. Somebody's going to know what hits the best and what doesn't. What's going on, Bill Sear? Now I know how to pronounce your last name. I always saw that and I felt bad. I was like, man, Taft is pretty pretty straight laced, and then I see other people's names, and I'm like, I don't. I'm just not going to say your name. I'll just say your first name. Uh, Nothing. I am sitting in my barn thinking about scaling my cart, thinking about racing this weekend. I'm thinking about it. Whether or not I pull the trigger or not. Do I run Saturday and run Burris 11s? They're sitting right there. I have air in the rights keeping them up. Or do I wait until Sunday and possibly deal with a dust bowl during the day race? Possibly, I don't want to say it will. Possibly happen. Maybe the new they got newer owners at KB. Maybe they keep the track wet enough that it doesn't turn into a dust bowl and probably end up on Vega yellows. Yeah, but Saturday looks like crap. It's cold. uh, I know that's and I agree, Bill. I would love to see. The problem is the competition is great, and tire versus tire versus tire would be fantastic. And somebody's going to say, "Well, Maxxis is the best tire. It's just gonna, it's gonna beat everybody." It's just like, have you run up north? No, and there's certain tracks down south that if you're not on a Burris 33, you can try and run a Maxxis if you want. But when tire rules are applied at tracks, everybody's on somewhat equal ground. I mean, it's up to your tire knowledge, tire selection, prep, stuff like that. But if it was tire versus tire versus tire, you're not Maxxis nor Burris nor Reaper nor Vega is going to want to submit to another brand is actually faster than what they produce, so they don't do it because they don't want to, hey, it's an open tire and everybody, knows what tire that specific track favors, goes with that. It's like, well, it's an open tire and everybody wants the Vega yellow. It's just like, the other brands are not going to be happy about that. So I get why they don't do it. I wish they would. I wish it would be open tire, but I ran open tire a majority of my racing, being UAS. That the only thing we were subject to was basically if a track said you can run treads or you can't run treads. That was the only thing that really was binding about it. Like some tracks just do not allow treads. They think that it ruins the surface. I disagree with that notion, but I understand. I understand why they say that, but typically, if a track's open tire up here, typically it's going to go Vega yellow-ish in New York anyway. There are a lot of tracks up here that Vega yellows, but then again, I wouldn't put Vega yellows on Weed Sport. Weed Sport is either going to be a Burris 33 or I think it would go Maxxis or Reaper. Just my opinion on that. But that's a calcium type track. Ben, have you thought about doing more budget videos? Yeah, I mean, I would like to. I'm budget, so I'm yes, the open's expensive, but I am definitely a budget guy. I am in a barn powered by an extension cord. And I do with what I have. So I am a budget guy, but also I understand where you're coming from. People that don't, I was lucky enough at one point in my career, we'll just call it career because I don't know what else to call it, that I had a Walt involved, and Walt got me a hot box, and Walt got me, the Bama and some of the equipment that I currently have. Now, mind you, before he came in the situation, I did have some of these things, but yes, it's buried in stuff. I won't say it's embarrassing because I'm a budget guy, but I will take you over to this mess over here and I will show you. As I knock tires over, my bad. All right, so, all right. There's my fan, but this right here with conduit is my original roller. It's screwed to the wall, and those are my heat lights. So when I heated up tires, I built this roller, and then you put the lamps on it to build heat in the tire. You could do 4 across, but I only did 2 at a time. You know, if I was growing or shrinking, typically if I'm rolling prep, I wouldn't use heat on that. Um, but yeah, that matter of fact, the side plates, you can't see it anymore. But these side plates, this is that's a road sign that has been halved. Um, and it used to say Weed Road because a bunch of my buddies who I lived up in the country, they stole a sign that said Weed Road. And then somehow I ended up with it. And I was like, well, I'm not going to let good aluminum plate go to waste. I'm going to make something out of it. So I made my tire roller out of it. But yeah, I have like this also as well. This is my homemade tire surfacer. Now, mind you, that's Star Pro. Sent that out, or maybe I won that. Did it? No, he sent that out for a review. I won the other thing, but this is it's my carburetor. I don't want to talk about that. But I just have a motor, pulley system that came off a drill press. I know it looks weird, but it works. I bought this at Tractor Supply, and it's just got a regular hub. This is an axle out of an old road course white chassis, and then obviously this used to be a standard hub, but now it's the Star Pro system here. Just makes it so much easier. I like this thing a lot. But yeah, I just a quick wiring job. Back here's my switch, and then this just protects it from just some ABS to protect the switch. I could move the switch, but I wasn't thinking when I built it, and then I was like, oh, hey, dummy, there's going to be fluids over there. You might want to put a diverter, so your switch doesn't get. But yeah, I'm all about the budget stuff. And I've done a video on that. I've done a video a long time ago on the tire roll. But yeah, it's I have so many video ideas, and I'm only one person, and I can't, between work, working out, family. It's now summer, going to be camping. It's tough for me to. That's why I used to do 2 videos a week, and it was working really well for a long time. And then I just found myself really stressed out trying to do 2 videos a week. So I replaced the 2 videos a week with doing this for an hour. Clipping out an hour at a time. Do a live stream with you guys, and also trying to do shorts. They're while I'm working in the garage, I can just take little snippets of me, changing the oil on my clone or changing the carburetor or doing stuff like that. So I'm telling you, if you saw my notes of video ideas I have for kart racing, I mean, it's intricate little stuff. It's dumb stuff. It's racing points of view. It's just very tough for me to buckle down and do more than one and then release that many. It's I hear what you're saying, and I would love to do some more budget stuff. It's just I almost get this weird sensation like I don't know what I'm gonna do for Sunday's video. And it's just like open up your phone, dummy. There's a billion ideas in there. You can just do that. Items. But yes, I absolutely. I don't disagree. I try and not me moving to the clone, racing the clone, bridge the gap between people that are just getting into the sport, getting into the kart racing, because it was hard. It was hard for me to talk about things, handling or this and that. Theoretically it works on the same plane, but it doesn't because there's so much horsepower. It behaves so much differently that now that I race the clone, I understand more about it and I can explain it. And then there's even a further thing like say a budget predator class that I've never even raced a predator before. So it's like there are other budget things that would be even I don't want to say step down. I don't ever want to insult anybody. You race, awesome. If you kart race, fantastic. I don't care what form it is. But there's so much to do. I'm only one guy, and my brain is just it's scattered. I don't know. Going to Concord on Saturday to run. Clone, no prep tech. Nice. Yeah. I will say that does, as much I love track tech. I'm a track tech guy. I would like you guys to run track tech. I will say that showing up and not monkey farting around with, with tires, guessing which ones, guessing the durometer, guessing, hey, what prep do I run? This and that. Just, staggers, air pressures. It'll be all right. I still like the challenge. That's one part of kart racing I do love is the tires and the tire situation, and I think it complicates in a good way an otherwise simple thing, if that makes any sense. It adds an element of knowledge. It adds an element of experience. It adds an element of trial by fire that maybe just maybe you're an underdog and you hit tires and all of a sudden right to the front you go. I like that. Uh, but I think the what do you think of goat pee and will it hurt my tires eventually? Goat pee is a fantastic chemical for softening a tire, gaining grip, all the wonderful things. There are very few equals in the karting world to goat pee. Uh, but what makes goat pee work also destroys a tire. Now, it's not right away. They say once a goat tire, always a goat tire. There's a reason for that. If you roll goat internal, if you wipe it excessively external, if you torch it in, you heat up the tire, and wipe goat in to get it to penetrate. What is making it bite uh, is actually destroying the rubber. Now it's like I said, it's not a right away thing, and if you're in it to win it, if you're there, accept no substitutes. It has been a staple in racing for a long time. Now, being I'm a track tack guy, I will say get yourself some better than goat pee. It's the red stuff. It stinks. It's like cherry. It's pungent. Um, or topaz. If you can get that, that's the closest thing I think track tack has to goat pee. They may not be as powerful of a bite agent, but they're also not going to destroy the tires eventually. They're going to make them soft. They're going to grip them up. They're going to do all those good things, but it's in the long run. They're not going to dry the tire out because that's the goat pee is getting in there. It's making all the oils and all the rubber and all the thing do the thing that you need it to do to bite into the track. But what that process happens eventually the durometer is going to start to rise and that's the oils being destroyed and going away from you and they're going to get hard and there's no bringing them back. So it's very useful. Just be careful or go into it fully knowing that, hey, eventually this tire is going to be poop. um, Feelings about the DKR. Yes, they DKR. I don't have a ton of information on it, but what little I have gathered from what people said is that DKR is basically a techable predator. Yeah, which is the gripe was that predators are because they're it's obviously clones are Chinese made too, but there's such a plethora of things that could be different. They could be tampered with. It's hard to you have a claim rule that is sometimes in order. If somebody did pay to have a cheater motor done, that could get done. But the Ducar actually has some parameters in which it's the same type of engine, the same kind of power and all that, but actually techable. I think it's a really good thing. Is it budget friendly? No, not as budget friendly. Obviously, it's way better to go over to Harbor Freight and just grab yourself a Predator and slap a clutch on that puppy and run it. I do like I like the Predator engine. I think it is breathed. Anyway, it's put more life into kart racing because it offers a budget friendly application. With that, I don't think their clones are that expensive, but comparable to a Predator, they are very expensive, and they take a lot more to maintain to keep up. But yeah, we have a Ducar class AMS. I noticed they've been saying that. I actually haven't gone around to look at one, but to see what they look like. But I think they're going to start to because like I said, it gives you some parameters that you could stay within. Because other than that, people are just doing claimer rules and this and that, and you can I don't know. Uh, family first job. Then yes, absolutely. Yep. Uh, sorry, I'm getting behind it. I get yammering. Uh, Mainem is I'm not sure what that is. Um, yep. Once a go tire, always a go tire. Yep. Thank you for all the stuff you do, Ben. You're busy, you personally make it. Oh, thank you very much. So, I'm my own worst critic. I can tell you up front. Um, I don't, when I don't do well in my open or I don't do well in the clone, I don't think I'm a fraud. Everybody has their bad days. Jimmy Johnson, wrecked out of races. Not to saying I'm Jimmy Johnson, but that I'm my own worst enemy when it comes to it. Sometimes I do a video, I'm like, did I never ever want to come off as arrogant. I never ever want to come off as know it all. I just want to say, hey, have you considered this? Have you considered this? This may do this. Careful because it may do this as well. I just want people to open their eyes. I do, I deal with some people with the comment section sometimes that are just very, know it all. And it's just like, man, that might work for you, but it might not work for somebody else. And then the personality things, it's just, kind of, this is me. It's, you can you can ask my coworkers. I can assure you, Kevin and Greg, um, I wasn't there Tuesday morning. I had to take my wife to a doctor's appointment, and I asked my coworker Kevin. I said, how was work? And he says, quiet. And I'm like, it's because I wasn't there, wasn't it? Because much like on here, I talk, and it's not that I can't stand the quiet. It's that I have a lot to say. I like having a personality. I like having conversations. And it was a natural kind of thing. It took me a while to develop my camera sense, and not be afraid to put myself out there into the world. But it translated over into the videos that I am in general. I get down on myself. Don't get me wrong. I'm my own worst critic. I just said it. But in general, I am a very positive person. I always, something happens and I say, well, that sucks. But also, it could have gone this way. And maybe if we change this and that, then it will go that way. Or, if something bad happens, it's just like, well, now we know not to do that again. Or, it's always truly a glass half full. And I think that the world needs more, not of me, but needs more of that. And I think I try and translate that into videos, while giving my opinion about what things on, you should do on carts or what you consider doing on carts. It's really, uh, I'm passionate about it, and I hope that comes across that way. Uh, uh, Go to yucky tires, but it's sometimes it is. I will say this: I am not supposed to promote Go because track tack, but I will say this: that if you say you run a burst 33 and it's calling for a goat, but you don't want to harm your tires as much, you might want to go 50-50. You might want to go better than Go P 50%, Go P 50%. The oils and the chemical consistency of the red will counteract some of the goat's bad stuff, but also leaving some of the biteability, yeah, sure, of the goat still in there. That is one of the chemicals when we're down Dumpling Valley no longer exists anymore in Tennessee. We had the Grand Nationals that was 2015, 16, 14, 2014. I was down there. Anyway, Burris 33s were the tire to be on. And, one of the locals, like anything red, basically for the feature. And Strail Gallup was with us, and he's just like, Ben, he's like 50-50. So I mixed up some, I wiped my tires with it, and what a difference that made. It really hit. Um, Using more time to work on. Yes. Yep. I agree. The I think I'll do a video pretty soon. It's no knock on the gentleman because I've heard it. He's not the only gentleman that said it, but as of recent, I've had somebody say that setup does not matter. All that matters is tires. No, 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 no. I understand where you're coming from, but also a good set of tires will make you feel like Superman. But if your chassis is not set up as good as somebody who is as good with tires as you are, you're at a disadvantage. You may have too much pressure on your right rear. You might have too much pressure on your right front. You may not have enough camber, caster, this, that. Setup does matter. Can a good set of tires make you feel like Superman? Absolutely. But eventually the tire may fade, and that is where your setup truly is going to matter. Um, so I agree. I agree with the premise that tires, they get you there. They are literally legit. The rubber hits the road. The rubber hits the track. That is what adheres to the track. If you are off from your setup, it is going to cause those really good tires not to be nearly as efficient or as effective as somebody who has adjusted on their car and nailed the tires. So you're up against that. I get where he's coming from. I understand. I've heard it many times. He's not the only. It's just as of recently, a gentleman said it, and I was just like, I respectfully disagree, but I get what you're saying. My 11-year-old watched videos. He ran third in points his first season, second next season. Yeah, I know. I would love to. I It's tough. I'll be down in Kentucky in September. My daughter talked me into taking her down to the Louder Than Life festival in September. But that's going to be just not an even long weekend. I think we're driving down Saturday. The show Sunday. Maybe I'm taking Monday off. I'll probably be taking Monday off just to drive back. I think we're going to the concert and everything. She wants to see Flyleaf and In This Moment and Evanescence. And then I saw a bunch of bands that I would like to see. There's more bands there that are on the prior days that I would more like to see, but I'll deal with what I got. I mean, there's Slaughter Prevails nuts. That it would be kind of cool to see him live though. Shoot, what's his name? Anyway, real. I mean, like deathly sounding voice. It is crazy what he's can do with his vocals. I don't know how long his voice will last, but that is Crossfade's going to be there. There's a couple bands, 10 years. There's a couple bands that I'm just like, oh, it kind of perked my ears up, like, ooh, I'm going more so as a uh, uh, not a chauffeur, but yeah, I'm chauffeur and I'm down there taking my daughter because she really wants to go to this concert, and it just happens to be music that I really like. It's one of the very few things we have in common, that she likes heavy music too, which is weird because if you saw my daughter, she's like 5'2" and as girly comes, but some of her music choices are just like it's my fault. I did that. But yeah, I really hope he fires off again. I think that I got to do a video on that too. It's written down about confidence, and sometimes you get your confidence shaken. I've had my confidence shaken. Lucatus, no, Lazowski Speedway, fast track. It has scared the bejesus out of me. We went on Friday night, and I was cooking around there pretty good. I had a 131 sedan. I was moving, and it scared the snot out of me. It's the first time I'd been fast on flat, but not on banked, and I was ill prepared for the type of G's, the type of racing that I was. It was a great idea to go to the Grand Nationals. It was a great experience. I would change it for nothing, but it scared me. And there was a part of me when my engine broke, my pipe came off. I didn't use strong enough springs. My pipe came off. I was relieved because it scared me that bad. We were going that fast. And I wasn't prepared. I was used to running around 10 guys in New York, and then you show up and you're in a B main and you're against 20 people, and it scared the crap out of me. Um, I eventually obviously got back behind the wheel, and I the third in national points, and multiple top tens in national points, and different Northeast divisional win, and it's tough. Even adults, you'll freak yourself out and you'll start questioning, like, should I be doing this? And so for a kid, I know, that your story, that a bad wreck will put a hiccup in your giddy up. But eventually that desire, that passion, I think it will overcome. There's just, once you see the speed again and you pass somebody and you're like, oh yeah, it should come back. I really hope so anyway. Uh, yeah, both up tires. Yep. Hi. It's definitely takes both tires and setup. A race we're going without tire prep. They forced me to learn chassis setup. Now I prep is an addition tool to make the car even. Yes, absolutely. Yep. Same. Like when we started Paradise Speedway, Geneva, New York, no longer a track. Well, it's still a track. It's just not running. WD-40 is prep. Yep. Spray it on there, wipe it off, made the tire sticky, added oils back in. That was the first form of prep that we got into. But and then I think wintergreen, we used some of that, and that was not great. But the entire time while we were using WD, pardon me, WD and wintergreen, we weren't using it as a crutch. We were using adjustments first, and then honestly, track tech came into our lives, and I got orange. I got orange for the first time, and really felt what something could do to tires properly, rather than just this and that, and then developing for a lot of years, that's all I ran was orange. And I still highly recommend it for like Burris racing. If you just need to fire off a tire, don't go crazy. Don't get everything in Track Tax line or any other brand. If you just need to fire off a tire, orange works really well. Works in all sorts of circumstances. Might be a little aggressive for a super hard fast track, spitting. But you can dilute it. You can, it's a very versatile prop, and it the same thing. You learn setup first, and then learn tires, and then when you put them together, that's when you truly see speed and you understand what's going on with your cart. Uh, you need to sing bridges for us. It'd be cool to hear. Yes. It's weird that I do all this this kart racing stuff, and I've dabbled in other things, like yeah, bridges was on what, 2014 inside line. It's on the menu. That scream is me. That's my scream. I'm on a video game. It's my 2 seconds of fame that nobody knew who I was, and I currently have my band that is kind of in flux. I think we renamed the band, so it's not technically a band anymore because the drummer left. No ill will, he's just busy with his life. But and so this ends is on iTunes and Spotify and all that. And yeah, I did the Screaming Amy stuff for a long time. Like we took a pretty big hiatus, but it was, I think I 18. I was outside of this barn out in my side yard, and my best friend Doug and I, he's a bassist, we got talking about band stuff, and we did the band stuff for a while, and it got way too into partying. I was pretty impressionable in my younger years, and I got into partying, and it could have gone sideways, and it started to go sideways, and then I corrected path and got back on. But yeah, I've always had a passion for music. I'm not the greatest singer of all time, but I can carry a scream pretty darn well. But there's a song called oh shoot, it's my own song. Why am I drawing a blank? I call it the emo song. Uh, anyway, we got like a 4 or 5 demo, or not demo, but EP style. It's called the EP is called 12 Years. That's how long it was that we were somewhat broken up till we got back together, and so this ends anyway. And yeah, I sing on there. I do some singing stuff, but mostly I've always been pretty good. I almost Jonathan Davis corn s screamy type of a little more versatile than he is. I got some high pitch. I got some low low. But in general, uh, gritty type of vocals. Anyway, yeah. So, about the week he's been working on is nice. Yes, it's always a good thing when you're. That was the one of the stories that I was just a jockey, if you will, when my dad got us into this. That I didn't know a darn thing about setup. I didn't know. I just knew it was slow, and or I knew it was did this or that, or it was. I blew up a flathead one time, and the thing was cruising right before she let go. But I it took me a long time to be. I was excited about racing, but I needed to be excited and passionate about what made racing tick in order for it really to fuse in there and go, oh, this is why we do this. And then, as soon as I started to learn more about things and the reactions of adjustments and this and that and tires and what have you, all the stuff, then it really, it burned in that passion for the sport. Uh, Hence why I'm here talking to you guys. Um, but yeah, yeah, it's yeah. I've stood in stage in front of people and screamed at them. My I got yelled at by my drummer. So there used to be this place called the Penny Arcade. It was in Rochester, New York, up by the lake, right on the lake, and it was like a metal style bar. And we got put on. My band's always been somewhat heavy, but with a melodic, not a hardcore, not death metal or anything like that, But we got put on like a hardcore show, which we were just excited to book a gig. She says, "Yeah, we'll come and do that." We were one of the openers. It was fine. We started off with one of our songs, and it was probably our most aggressive song. And the crowd's into it and this and that. And then we did a second song, and then I saw the crowd start to back up, and then they backed up even further. And then there's a huge gap, like nobody's in the front enjoying the band. And then it came to the emo song, which I'm currently drawing a blank. It's so dumb that I forget my own song name. But I said to the crowd, well, if you hated that one, then you're really going to hate this one. My drummer heard it through the monitor. And we got done with the show. He was yelling at me. He thought I was insulting, like talking crap about our band. And I was just like, no, I mean, it was, everybody's like, no, he was jabbing the crowd because they were, those guys wanted to hear hardcore music. We were not a hardcore band. We were a heavy rock, maybe a tinge of metal in there. But yeah, that was a whole thing. I've been in festivals, or not festivals, but we're in a park, like a park setting, and that band, Transparent, that I did that song Bridges with, and I just remember thinking I'm in the middle of just a town's park that's in the middle of town, and we're doing a show, and there's other bands, and here I am just cutting loose with some real aggressive screams, and thinking, boy, what my life has become. uh, Life, started running clone super heavy this year. I love it, but I need more speed. Yeah, me too. So this has been one of my I want to say gripes, but it's been a thing this year. Everything I did to this cart right there should have made me faster. I tore down the whole cart. I painted the whole cart. That has nothing to do with the speed, just to make it look fresh, looking nice. Replaced all the bearings, set everything, put my seat in, this and that. Last year, I was at a deficit with tires. I bought used tires. It's what I could afford. It's what I make do with. This year, I got brand new tires. What are, basically the track was calling for? Slow. I think I'm bound up. I think maybe I had my seat too tight. that's a thing. Especially up here. I definitely am too heavy on my left. I don't think I'm getting the thing to roll over enough to, get good corner speed. There's just a multitude of things that are everything that I did to it. Nothing's changed about the chassis. I just freshened it back up, but it's almost like everything being slightly looser, the bearings worn out, this and that, made it faster. And once I tightened everything up, once it got new bearings and everything else, and I meticulously went through the darn thing, I lost some speed out of the thing, and it's frustrating. I did make some changes though, and no secret here, I'm trying to mitigate my left side because up north here you don't want, typically, not saying always, typically you don't want 59, 60, 61% left, which I can get no problem. You want somewhere in the neighborhood of sub 59, 58, 57, somewhere maybe 56. It depends on your, cart setup. But I can't get it with as much left as I have. So basically have raised the seat a little bit, the butt of the seat, raise that up in order to try and get my vertical center of gravity up so it transfers weight to the right. So it's, even though I'll still have some of that left, um, too much left there, maybe it will want to sit on my right rear, want to sit on those right side tires. Maybe it'll transfer weight a little better in order to get the thing to not be so bound. It turned the first couple of races, it turned, but it doesn't have what it once had. My lap times, fairly comparable, maybe a little on the, a tenth or two off, but in general, I'm running fair lap times. It just doesn't feel fast. It's that just driving me nuts. So I might scale. I might scale tonight. If I don't race this weekend, I'll definitely scale again and just check where I'm at. I was trying some things, loosened up my seat, got her pretty free, more free than I usually run it. But I got to do something. I got to find what's going on with it. Speed comes with time. Work on it. Yep, absolutely. No, so I see a lot of gear bound. Yep, that's very possible too. Just it the gear sounds correct and should be correct, but it just doesn't. And I want to do a video on gear bound, but it's hard to describe to somebody because it doesn't technically make sense. You know what I'm saying? Like it's adding a tooth or two, and then all of a sudden you're gear bound. It doesn't carry itself the same way as a tooth or two or three off of that. Now it it shouldn't be that way, but it is. It's very hard to explain. But you can feel it when it's happening. You can almost be like, hey man, when we went to launch off the last time I was at AMS, it just felt like I was just like, bleh, which is if now that I'm mentioning it here, that is the same gear that I ran last time. I might want to go either up or down on that. Maybe I'll go up because I felt as if it had more drive, which makes sense going up in teeth. But the new. Oh wait, I did put on the older engine. I don't think there's anything wrong with the new engine. The new engine's got all the updates and all that stuff. Ran great. But the I got last year's AKRA sitting on it now because I just wanted to run it. I mean, I got two engines. Why put all the miles on one type of thing? And then this is the one I put the brand new carburetor because some dummy screwed up. But I wanted to see comparable how this behaves. Now, this gearing might be okay with this engine because that cam wants to pull different than this one. Maybe. You bet I have a gun. Huh. The world may never know. Hmm. I won't get into it. I don't. We don't. And I'm not even saying that anything against that what you just said there, but I don't do politics or religion or anything like that on this channel, just because as good as my intentions might be in something, as good as my intentions might be, somebody's going to disagree, somebody's going to get butthurt, and we don't do that. We keep the we keep an upward style type of chat and everything going here. But yeah, uh, one might assume, but then again, you never know. Or maybe somebody has multiple. By her, a whole bunch of people lost theirs in a boating accident, though. It's very strange. So I always keep the slider door open in here. And two birds. I was working the other night, and I was working on the cart, and two birds. I mean, just like doing battle, and they came right at me. I'm like, dude, I'm not involved in this. Yep. Gun. Anyway, I think that's funny. But yeah, this is what she looks like. This is the brand new JC Specialties Extreme carburetor. I know they just put a kind of body do I run? Oh shoot, what is? Oh man, it's one that JC sells. Oh shoot, I'm drawing a blank. It's their it's their budget friendly one. I can't think of it. We can take a peek here. I can show it to you. Um, drawing a blank on who makes it. JC Specialties carries it. It's $20 to $30 cheaper than the other makes. They pretty much carry everything that you want. I think they got Chavis and Charger and all that, but it's a pretty nice body. It was just, it was. I think it was like $20 or $30 cheaper. JC Specialties, super good dudes. If you watch that video where I walked around their warehouse, amazing, absolutely amazing, super good people, super knowledgeable. I know. I'm tempted. uh 375 money. Oh, I'm gonna have to take weight off. I'm a fatty. Oh, here, I'll show you what I've done. All right, so I just described that I'm dealing with too much left side weight. All right, so here's I gotta have basically 19 pounds or something like that. There's one. There's my one lead puck. But this is what's that? I don't know. I don't know when it's gonna work. I'm trying to counterbalance me. Yeah, I think it's a really nice body. Boy, I'm drawing a blank. I feel really bad. Not that they're any kind of sponsor or anything like that, but boy, I want to say everybody else was up. Oh boy, I don't want to misquote anything. Uh, I just know that I looked at them on JC's site, or they don't have JC doesn't have pictures up. The ones that they do have the prices listed, and this one is $20 or $30 cheaper than like the Charger body that they sell. I'm pretty sure they sell everything, with the exception of I don't think they were debating whether or not they could sell the Premier body without a Premier cart. They do sell Premier carts, but they did. He was working on asking if that was possible. I also have a Chavis sitting over there. I broke the nose. It still needs to be repaired. Um, we can go M&M bodies, Elastic Pro. My only beef, we'll say it's a beef. It's not beef. I used to have an M&M nose on my UAS ride. Now this is before I did this. So here's my UAS cart. Here, proof. There's my UAS cart. So this, I put this across the front porch that holds the wings, the sides of the nose up. So when I had the M&M Performance body, I had one of those, super durable. The sides came down, and I was on a slack reactor at the time, and I was tight, pushing the nose, pushing the nose, pushing the nose, pushing the nose. I don't know, for whatever, I used to do stuff out of a 10 by 13 shed. That's, what I had. I lived out in the country, and I never noticed it for whatever reason. But I had the left side, especially the left side, was dragging on the ground. So especially in an open, when you lift, come out of the gas, it has a tendency to nosedive. Well, when it was nosediving, it was slamming the front bumper into the ground, and then just no turn because I wasn't on my left front wheel. It was doing nothing. It was, yeah. Yeah, yes, they do. I have straightened my Recon front bar. Matter of fact, this is a scythe that I just showed you. That extra bar. Here, I'll get this one. You have to pardon my mess here, but so yeah, up I painted mine black because I straightened it. It was all twisted, but up there's the standard Recon, or in general, Phantom front bar that bends a lot. You can see it better on the other, but this is what I'm talking about. I run this across the front porch, and it goes over there and holds that wing up, the wing to the nose, and then comes over here and holds this side up. Now what I have is, you can see this, it's a little block. So the distance, obviously this is sitting on the front porch across here, and this just takes it up, but this makes it so that, the nose is attached pretty much only to the front porch, with the exception of, a little stanchion here, and then the say side over there. But it keeps the nose from doing that, from laying down into the ground and causing yourself to get tight. I have 10 of them. Yep. They've been Penns Creek has a cool open. You can. Nice. Matter of fact, when I was just talking about the M&M nose digging in the ground, I believe that was Penns Creek was the last time I ran it, because I'd get into the turn, and that tight turn. What would it be? Was it 3 to 4? I mean, if you're not counting the little kicker there, the D-shaped track there, but I would go to dive into that corner, and it would just slam on the nose and then just plow. And I believe that was the last race I ever ran that. Gave it to somebody afterwards, but that, no knock on them whatsoever. I think the durable plastic nose is really cool for some people. Works awesome. I had that bad experience with it. It was my fault. It was just something I never thought of it. But yeah. Accelerated JKB. John's Kart Bodies. That's it. You nailed it. Good job, Bill. John's Kart Bodies. That's what that's called. Yeah. Yep. So far, so good, man. Yeah. I haven't been a major wrecks or anything with it, but yes. Ultimate Arrow. I think it's the JKB. I don't know if it's accelerator or not. I couldn't tell you. I just said send me one. I have Cliff's number, and I text him. It's like, hey man, I need a body. And then he also he doesn't have, but the business has my credit card, and then they send me stuff. That's it's one of the benefits of being me and having this channel. I've known Cliff for a long time. We Bobby Baldwin was good friends with him, and we got to hang out a couple times at their open house. Super good dude, really knowledgeable. Yeah, just couldn't be happier with our what relationship we have. Just texting him, he's text me some things, asking about open stuff, which is more of my knowledge base. I'm trying to correct that. I'm trying to get in, get myself better in the clone world. But yeah. Yeah, it is, yeah. And the thing about it is people down I have this thought often that I don't think a lot of people down south know or care who I am, which is fine. I don't think I'm anybody. I'm just some dude in Western New York, you know. But I just have that sneaking suspicion that you could go down into the southeast and they'd mention my name and people would go like, I don't know what you're talking about, and I'm perfectly okay with that. It's my wife's just like, are you that big of a channel? I'm like, I mean, it's fairly big now, but I guarantee more people don't know who I am than people do, and it's perfectly fine. I don't know what would happen if my channel went crazy. You cheated and went to the website. I know. Well, normally, and I'm one of those guys that I'm not always on my phone, but I kind of like as soon as somebody asks me a question, I'm looking for it on the website. I'm googling it. I'm trying to like I want the answer. Somebody has a question. Somebody has let me see if I can help you. Type of thing. It's just the way I'm wired. But yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I know that if I were to come down to whatever race, Maximilian, nobody's gonna know me. It's perfectly fine. I don't know what I would do if I had too many people talking to me anyway. I forgot this is I only blame myself. I think I didn't tighten the air filter on my open because I think somebody came over and was talking to me while I was putting it on, and I think I didn't tighten it. Pretty sure that was going on. At least the track was that there was a little dirt in my carburetor, and it's not good. That is not good. That's sandpaper in my engine, not good. There's still great compression. I didn't hurt it that bad. Obviously, it ran pretty good in the feature. So just so much methanol. But I'm fairly certain that I was putting my air filter on my carb, and I think somebody was talking to me, and I'm a squirrel, and just that was the end of that. uh, Dude, I really appreciate you guys even being here. It's I think there's the reason there's so many reasons for the channel, but I don't think there's a necessity for everybody to go through every single growing pain, learning the stuff that just simple stuff that maybe you didn't think of. Like, oh crap, what about that? Oh, geez, maybe and that's I try and hit on some of those things. Like maybe nobody's ever thought of like, hey, explain a driving line. What's a berm? What I don't know what the berm is. What's a cushion? That's people getting into the sport. It's I don't know. It's part of this channel. Okay, I wanted to get raise it. What motor would you be better, 125cc or 450? Um, I say this knowing full well I'm a two-stroke guy. I love two strokes. I would love to run a sedan again, 125cc sedan. I will say that they are more temperamental than a 450 is going to be. A 450 is a bunch heavier, but it is good, reliable horsepower. If you can get, QRC, no, I say QRC. I don't know that for certain. I'll retract that. Take that back. Somebody like Motorworks, Kyle Pease, and his dad Mike Pease, they make motor mounts for this stuff. There's a bunch of people that do make motor mounts for 450s, but you get a CR 450. And I say that you can run any engine you want. It's fine. I like YZ, but the CR is used because if you choose to chop off the transmission to go with the trainee-less system, they use separate oil from the gearbox to the engine, to whereas others use common oil to lubricate both. Okay, if you omit all that. If you don't plan on doing it, pick whatever engine you want. You get a motor mount made, and you have a pretty standard shifter. It's basically, and then obviously connect it to your rear axle with some gearing and chain, like 428 or 520 or something. Um, it's more reliable. You can beat on it. It'll last forever. I mean, there's no way we torture an engine like motocross people do. That being said, they're a bunch heavier. They are, if you're a lighter person, it's tough to get left side weight into that thing with that huge chunk of metal over there. If you're a detail oriented person, I would say two strokes are better. 125, if you're light enough, awesome. I mean, if you 125 bike engine, okay, that's possible too. I think you're at, unfortunately for the bike engine, because you're turning the transmission as well, you're at a fairly big horsepower disadvantage. The 450 makes a crap ton more power. More, a 125 sedan, which is tranny-less, it's a actual kart engine, um, is going to perform better than a like a shifter style 125cc. If any of that makes sense, if that correlates. I always, new people coming into UAS, I always suggest the 450 only because it is very durable. If you get a shifter set up, if you can drive it like that, you have a clutch and all that stuff. It takes a little bit of ingenuity in order to make it work, but if you can make it work, the engines are hard to kill. To whereas if you mistune a two-stroke, yep, and there goes your piston, or the other bad stuff can happen. It's just the two strokes are tougher to talk people into because of the amount of knowledge you have to make them run properly. To whereas I think with ignition and the programmable ignitions and blah 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 that you get with modern day motocross engines like the 450, it's way easier to run one of those. There's so much more. There's tons of parts out there for them and all that. So my engine builder is a friend of yours. Mike, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, dude. Mike is good stuff. Mike is such a wealth of information. He's the person I came to, and he says, first thing, get your staggers right, get the thing turning, then worry about grip. And I'm like, whoa, just blew my mind. Never even, like I know staggers are a thing. I knew staggers were a thing, but yeah, Robbie has multiple UAS championships. Robbie's fast. He used to run freight train flatheads way back in the day, way back when I first met him. Robbie the Kid Yow. He's not so much a kid now, married and all that stuff. But yeah, Mike's a super dude. We used to call him Tire Daddy. Super, super good dude. I also track that guy. Track that. Yeah, super, super good dude. Spread the channel. Yeah, I appreciate that. Gotta go, Ben. All right, man. He's probably gone. I got behind again. This happens. It's just a fresh home job. Oh, 508 pounds at QRC or a skate kart, two-stroke. Oh, do they? Okay, yeah. I've seen that. I've always wondered about putting because the PA wings there, and oh shoot, what's his? Oh, dude, what's his name? Brian Kerr. Brian Kerr used to run in the PA wings, and he used to have a sedan on one of those wing carts. And everybody's getting push started, and uh, uh, Metzger was running there briefly, and they had the CR 500s and this and that. And where's your next race event? Anyway, oh, sorry. I was gonna put. I was thinking about back when the PA wings were a thing, like putting the Bama on one of those wings. I'm like, that would work. I wouldn't have to be bump started or anything like that. I'd have to keep it running, which I keep it running no problem. But I'm like, I bet you that'd freaking work. That'd be a lot of fun to drive. But I'm debating on whether or not to go down this weekend. I want to test this thing because I did all the changes to it. Uh, Probably go down. If I go to AMS Saturday Sounds like it's going to be rainy and crappy, cold. But there's a money race for 375 at KB on Sunday, which is it's the same town. Matter of fact, it's a little closer to me than AMS is. Weather looks to be better, so maybe go to KB. I don't know. Jeez, decisions. Uh, as far as the Open goes, I don't believe I'm running it till next month sometime. I mean, I'm not sure where. I'd have to look at the Keystone and Western New York UAS schedules again. I think it's next month though, and then mid next month, I don't know, somewhere in there. Yeah, I got somebody broke his gear, taking it off his jack shaft. I broke my 19 tooth. In all fairness, it wasn't coming off, and I gave it a pop with a hammer. It was stuck on there for whatever reason. I don't know why, but I gave it a pop, and one tooth came off, and I'm like, it's junk now. So yep. The only problem with that is they're Tuffy gears, so they're a little different, a little more expensive. Anyway, all right. I just happened to I never claim to be perfect. Do as I say, don't do as I do. My wife came in shortly after, and I was just grumbling, and she's like, "What'd you do?" I was like, "Well, I broke my gear." She's just like, "How much are those?" I'm like, I don't know. I don't know, 20, 30 bucks, something like that, but just bonehead push shipping. This bonehead move. I wish I hadn't done it, but after I did the one, I was like, "Oh, you're going to pay now, and you're also going to come off there." So, but all right, guys, I thank you very much for stopping by. I see it's 70 minutes into here, and I try and only do an hour, but of course I get yakking, and that's the end of that. I can go forever. Everybody's met me knows that I can talk up a storm. But I appreciate you. I'm not sure what video I'm doing Sunday yet. I've yet to make it. I have a couple different ideas bouncing around in my head. I had one that I was for definite going to do, and then I kind of second guessed it. So yeah, we'll see you Sunday for that video, and then we'll be back here next Thursday. So yeah, later.